Alright, hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Brittany. So earlier this week I finished the book The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and I wrote a blog post about it, just talking about some of the main points or some of the most important points to me and sharing some quotes. And I had my highest number of views on my blog, which is only 8, but I got a notification and I decided to celebrate that. And I'll also make a video about it, maybe to elaborate a little bit more and to supplement the post. I will link the blog post below, so if you want to read that, you can go check that out, but otherwise I'm going to probably talk about the same thing here in this video. So, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. It's a wonderful book. I think it's like a bestseller. It's super popular, and recently this year, or in the past like 6 to 8 months, I got into the practice of mindfulness and actually exploring what it means and how to practice it. As I explored mindfulness, I realized a lot of it is just being present in the present moment, being there for when now happens. So the power of now just seems to highlight one of those points, which is now, the present. So I picked it up. I actually downloaded it on Audible, but Eckhart Tolle is not that great of a narrator, so I ended up getting it on Kindle instead, which actually worked out for the better because I was able to highlight and reread, which was probably one of the reasons that it took me so long to get through this book. I was constantly stopping and thinking about what he said and then highlighting it and then still like going over that. I feel like I could read it 4 more times and still get so much more meaning out of it. So, the power of now. Why is the now important? You have to make the distinction with the passage of time. We have the past, the present, the future. So much of our life is spent, so all of our life is spent in the present, but our mind tends to stick to the past or the future. It's called like a non-acceptance. Like, because you're not in the now, you're not accepting this present moment, so you're choosing to live in the past or in the future. The present is important because when you think about it, it's all that exists. And I know this is a complex topic. If this doesn't make sense to you, it's fine. I'm just trying to share what I learned in this book. Now is all that exists because the past ceased to exist. Like, it doesn't exist anymore. Whatever happened. It's not going on right now. Yes, the past affects the present moment, but we tend to give it too much credit. The future, this was very important for me because I do have a tendency, or I did, probably still do, tendency to live in the future by constantly thinking about the future. When we think about the future, it's a resistance to the present moment. We don't want to accept now. Usually, if we think something's wrong with our life now, or we don't want to accept our life situation, we project our happiness to some point in the future, some undetermined, sometime in the future I will be happy, sometime in the future things will be better. Usually because we expect things to change in the future. However, when we in constant anticipation of the future, when we get to that point in the future, a year from now, when I graduate, when I move out, blah, 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 we think that the problem is our life situation when really the problem is our mindset or our life. So we'll get to that point in the future and even if the problem disappears, it'll come back in another way. Especially if constantly thinking about the future becomes a habit. So even when we get to that point in the future, we'll be thinking about the future again. So by constantly thinking about the future, we never actually enjoy the present moment. And in a way, we forget to live because our life only exists in the present. Like I said, the past has ceased to exist, the future does not exist, so all we have is the present moment. One of the elements of practicing being in the present moment is to feel your emotions. I think one of the quotes was, in a fully functional organism, an emotion has a very short lifespan, something like that. Because when you feel yourself getting angry or sad or disappointed or even happy, stop and observe the emotion. Like, what does it feel like when I start to get angry? Does my face get hot? Does my heart race? What does it feel like when I start to get sad? When you step away and observe it, it loses its power because it's not controlling you anymore. See, because when we get an emotion, we think about what caused it or what am I going to do about it? But just think about now, what is it doing to you? It shushes it. It's not so powerful anymore. And it just, taking that time to be mindful, it just helps you also to get to know yourself, to get to know your own mind. And that's what mindfulness, meditation even, is just observing things as they come in, even observing thoughts as they come through your head and as they leave. I talked about acceptance a lot when I was talking about living in the past or living in the future is a refusal to accept the now, or a resistance to the now. Usually when we're in a negative situation, the first step is to accept that we are there, to acknowledge the present, to acknowledge that at this moment I am here. This was probably the hardest concept for me to grasp, was how can I accept this present moment if it's bad? Like, what if I hate my job? Like, does it mean I hate my job, this is a bad job, I'm just gonna stay in this job? It's not about apathy, or it does talk about surrender, but not like giving up. You should surrender to this moment. How can you change anything if you don't even accept it? Like, if I don't say that this job is not for me, why would I ever want to do anything about it? I get it now, but it's still hard for me to explain. Basically, you have to acknowledge the moment. You have to acknowledge the present moment before you can actually do anything about it. So I enjoyed this book, and I want to recommend it to people, especially if you're into mindfulness, because it's a very in-depth discussion on the present. However, it's not for everybody because you have to be ready for the material. One of my friends was having a problem. I wouldn't just throw this book at them like, this is gonna fix your life. They have to be in a place to want it, because the stuff that it talks about is very elusive, it's spiritual, and if you haven't ever thought about how your mind works, or ever thought about what am I doing here on this earth, or even just like thought about the fact that you're conscious, it's just gonna fly over you. I do recommend this. I feel like mindfulness is important to everybody. So if you are on your journey of mindfulness or meditation or spirituality or whatever, journey of self-discovery, I do recommend this book. And of course, whenever we encounter these universal laws of life, of course, we're going to protest with, but what about this situation? Or what about me? Or what about my friend who blah, blah, blah? And of course, it's normal to be, and you should be a little bit skeptical. You shouldn't just accept things because someone says it. Explore it for yourself. What's nice is this book is set up as like a Q&A where he answers questions that he's received a lot as a speaker and an author. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I am still uploading videos. I'm uploading a video at least every week. They're not always the same type. Usually it's like a workout video or a travel video. I'm still into this health and wellness thing. I'm just still trying to find my stride. I don't want to force content that seems unnatural because it makes me cringe to watch myself doing something that I force myself to do. Just because it's like, I don't know, it reminds me of like doing like a project for school rather than something that I'm passionate about. So this one came easily because I really like this book, and I feel like reviewing it and making a video about it is gonna really close the book for me, even though I am going to probably read it again. So thank you so much for watching. I would love any feedback. If you've watched to this point, I would love any feedback, and I hope you'll check out mindfulness at least. Anyway, as always, I wish you a happy and healthy day. Thank you so much for watching.